All right, Jim, let's get another question here from the Cult of Cornette. This one from the Cult of Cornette Facebook group, sent in by Warren Howler.
Who? What?
Howler.
Well, you just pronounced that very Howler.
Howler. Well, the E
Howler.
after the W made me extend it a little bit. How would you pronounce it?
Howler.
Well, let's see what he's howling here. How much of a vote of confidence was it when Dusty Rhodes told the locker room when the Midnight Express came into Jim Crockett Promotions in 1985 that they were his new top heel team and that they would not be losing until he said otherwise? Were the Midnights and Jim told of these plans before they came into the territory?
Well, no, to answer that question first, no. We were told, we knew he wanted to use us. We knew that both Dusty and Flair, because for stories and reasons I've told before, when they had came to Louisiana, they wanted us there. Crockett wanted to bring us in. So we knew they were going to use us well. There was not the knowledge. He never said, I'm not going to let anybody beat you until I say otherwise. But he said that. Dusty would always have meetings where he would either introduce new talent in the territory or just give you an update. A lot of times it was an intermittent team meeting where everybody went over to Crockett's office and all bundled into Dusty's office. If you can imagine 26, 28 of these guys with referees and everybody in a fucking 16 by 16 foot office with a fucking desk in it. But, and he'd have team meetings. He'd give the game ball. There was an Italian restaurant all the boys liked in Charlotte. And if during the week or two before his team meeting, if somebody had really, outperformed their normal output or done something to distinguish themselves, he'd give them a $50, which at the time was dinner for two, $50 certificate to the Italian restaurant. So when he said that in the Omni that night, no, seriously.
It's just funny the way you put it.
The game ball.
You had a good week. Here's a $50 gift certificate to the Italian restaurant.
Yeah, Ricchio's, I think is what it was. But anyway, when he'd have these meetings and he brought the Midnight in and he said, these guys are going to be my new top heel team and they ain't going to be doing no jobs. Nobody's beating them. We're going to give them a push, that type of thing. That was a tremendous vote of confidence to answer the first question. But he didn't tell us that beforehand. We didn't... Dusty, are we going to have to do any jobs? No, we're just Dusty. We're coming to you, baby. Make us some money.
Were you fully comfortable going to work for Dusty before you got there? Just because obviously that must be a scary thing and you just come out of this experience in Dallas where you need a relationship with the booker. You need the booker to believe in you. You need to feel comfortable with the booker. Did you know it was going to be like that with Dusty or what did you think?
Well, yes. Again, we weren't completely sure, but here's the thing. When in Louisiana, yes, Dundee was the booker. He knew us. Watts was behind us, so we had full confidence. We did great. Then we go to Dallas, mainly because Watts wanted us to go there so that we would be accessible to make dates. We've told that story. But we'd never met Ken Mantell before we showed up that day. And we didn't know. I mean, there was a couple of underneath guys at the time in Dallas that had just come over from Louisiana, but we didn't know any of the talent there and had never worked with, Mike Dennis had been in Georgia at one point if, Gino had stopped by or whatever, but really no relationships. And it was the Von Erich boys, Gino and Chris Adams and whoever Gary Hart was managing had those guys tied up. So as a result, we weren't used on top. But then to answer your question, Flair had said, you guys got to come to the Carolinas. Dusty had said, yes, we'd like to come to the Carolinas. I talked to Jim Crockett on the phone. Yes, we can't wait for you guys to come. So it wasn't like we're going to dip our toe in the water. We had the confidence of the people that were at the top of the company, but then it just depends on whether you get over in a new environment. We were pretty sure we would, especially because the rock and roll were going. But mainly we decided to make the move, not only financially, because we knew we could make as much or more working for Crockett, even in the middle of the card at that point in time, as we were making in Dallas, we'd make longer miles and more dates for it. But also, they had just gotten TBS. We'd not only be on Crockett's syndication, we would be on TBS, which was, world class was syndicated, and a lot of people were seeing us. That's where we first started being seen outside the Mid-South Territory. But TBS was the national wrestling program of record at that point in time. And we knew that if we could do what we'd been doing previously, especially in Louisiana, on TBS and in a territory like the Carolinas with the talent they had, that we would make a fucking fortune. And we did.